Well, I recently completed a trip, and the number of miles I put on the trip was right around 3,000 miles. And I took a whole bunch of fuel economy measurements, and I thought it might be a good idea to make a little video of, what the mileage was, and as well as some of the things I've done to the truck to get this sort of fuel economy. So overall, though, I've got a little summary here of the total number of gallons and then the total miles that are driven, and then the computed mile per gallon for each one of these different entries. And I've actually summarized the total miles driven on this axis as well as the miles per gallon. And you can see when I start on off, I'm getting right around 19 something, and then I end off at like 19, and everything in between is pretty much right around 20, 21 miles per gallon. So if you start taking a little look at, some of my entries here, when I started the trip, I actually started in a mountainous area. And so, the beginning part of the trip, of course, that might explain why I got the lower fuel economy. And of course, at the end of the trip, I got the same sort of fuel economy too. So the start and end, I had a little bit different type of driving, at least the terrain wise. And so you get 19 and some change on that part of the trip, and then 2021 for the rest of it. And of course, I've summarized it down here. If you take the total number of gallons and the total number of miles, the overall average is 20.5. And then if you take out the mountain portion of this, you're getting something right around 21 and something, which isn't too bad. Keep in mind that this is a 2003, Ford F-350. It's the single rear wheel truck. It's got the 7.3. Of course, this is the last year that they actually made that with the Power Stroke diesel. It is a 4x4, and I've got a manual transmission in it. So this truck has something on the order of, weighs something on the order of right around 8,000 pounds. It's a little bit less than that. It's the 8-foot bed, long bed, as well as the crew cab. So it's a heavy truck. So I was quite surprised that I could actually get something right around the 21 mark with this number of miles on it. And one other remarkable thing is that, this truck has like a 38-gallon tank in it. And you can see here that I drove 700 miles between Phillips on the tank. So if you're getting that kind of mileage, you can get kind of picky where you pull over and get your gas, which is kind of a neat thing. I was impressed, and you can actually see, I'm going from here to here. So it was at least the range in this truck, if you don't have it weighted down, is quite good. And I should also say that I did have something in the back of the truck. It wasn't a heavy load by any means, but I had some things in there. So that was one thing that I should probably mention. The second part is, as far as my speed, I was driving right around 65, 70. I wasn't really pushing the truck hard all the time. And, but it was a fair pace for it, and I'm pretty happy with it. So, being that I've got like 20, 21 miles at a gallon, I thought I'd at least go over some of the things that I've done to the truck. And some of the discussion is focused right around the Power Stroke, but other parts of it are just generic in nature. So even though you may not have a Power Stroke, there may be some ideas in here that you can take away and use in your own truck to get a little bit better fuel economy. So with that, I guess I'll jump on in and start talking about the different things that I've done to the truck, and you can make up your own mind as far as if you want to explore it a little bit further. So thanks, Hen. The first fuel economy tip I want to talk about is the tire. Now, in this particular instance, I actually have, I guess you can say, tires that are low rolling resistant tire. And if you want to know how to look for these things, you can actually see here up in the upper right hand corner the X or the green, and indicating that this is again a low rolling resistant tire. And of course it takes less energy to push or roll this tire down the road as compared to other tires. It's a quiet tire, and it rides nice, and it's also a load range E tire. So I should say that this is a good street tire
But if you're off-road and you want to have a lot of grip, well then this is not necessarily the best tire for you. But nonetheless, if you've got very big tires and you're trying to get good fuel economy, well, you may have you may lose some fuel economy just because of the tires that you have in your truck. So this is one tip, I guess I can say, that that I've done on these particular with these particular tires, and I'm pretty happy with them. Again, if you buy tires, make sure you get the right load range for it. And these are load range E. That's critical if you're hauling any weight. You want to make sure that you've got the sufficient weight capacity with the tires for your truck. Now the second fuel economy tip has to do with your exhaust. The standard exhaust is something right around 3 inches and right around 3.5 inches in diameter. And if you go with the 4-inch diameter all the way on back from the turbo on back, you can actually have a slight improvement in your fuel economy. Also, when you make changes, you can definitely hear the turbo spin up and down. It's more noticeable. So there is some trade-off. The truck may not be as quiet as it was before, but nonetheless, you'll get better fuel economy as well as lower exhaust gas temperatures. So it's kind of a double benefit if you upgrade your exhaust system. So that would be one tip. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about some things that you can do with your engine to actually get you better fuel economy, or some things to check. Really, the first thing has to do with the actual thermostat. I've got something here from the Diesel site. It's a 203-degree thermostat, and it's specifically designed, of course, for your particular Power Stroke. I guess 96 to 2003, and I bought the housing that goes around it. It's aluminum housing as compared to the existing housing, which the ears on this bend a little bit, so a lot of people say they have problems with this when they take it apart, put it back on. So I just went and opted for the good housing, which is all aluminum, and with the thermostat. And this raises the temperature of the engine up a little bit. I can't tell you exactly how much improved fuel economy you will get, but I can say that I've got a little Jetta diesel, and the ambient temperature makes a big difference on the fuel economy. And diesel engines are more efficient at a higher temperature. Of course, you don't want it so high that it actually affects the performance and degrades the oil per se, but nonetheless, if you can raise on it up a few degrees, it'll be beneficial in terms of fuel economy. So that's one thing. The next is oil. So when I say oil, I'm not talking about visc grade. I mean, certainly you can get better fuel economy with the thinner visc grade. This is a 15W40 for Motorcraft oil. You can get this anywhere, for that matter, at Walmart or wherever you want to choose to get it from. And it's specifically formulated here for the Power Stroke. So there's, it's a service recommended fill item. The unique thing about this particular engine is that it has hydraulically actuated fuel injectors. And if you have any sort of foaming in your oil, aeration I guess is the best way to say it, that's going to essentially put air in your system, and it's going to affect the performance of your hydraulic components, including your fuel injectors. So I just stick with the Motorcraft oil. It's specifically designed for this engine. I can't say what the aeration attributes are of other engine oils. I know I'm okay with this, so I'm just going to stick with the oil here. And so what do I mean by aeration? Well, think of it this way. Inside your engine, it's just like a blender, and it's frothing it all over the place. And the capability or the chemistry of the oil to actually eliminate the air entrapment is a big factor on this engine. And there are other engines that have hydraulically actuated fuel injectors, so this is not the only one, but nonetheless, I want to minimize the risk with this, make your engine run right. certainly getting the putting in the fluid that's recommended. And I'm sure there are other fluids that are probably just as good, but I don't know that for sure. I'm just sticking with the service fill recommended fluid, which is, of course, this Motorcraft fluid for this particular engine.